Hey everyone, welcome back. We've got a few projects planned for today, but one of the main ones that we're going to do is this. We've got the Kobalt 40v Max Hedge Trimmer. Now, I have no hedges to trim with it. I think this is going to work really good for going around and trimming back my fence rows and stuff, and like where I've got a lot of fence along the edge of the woods. It's not always just tree limbs where you can come in there like a pole saw or something like that and cut a tree limb out, which I do have some of those and I'll have to use the pole saw for that. But there's lots of little stuff that goes around and kind of just grows out and gets to your fence line, and I think that this thing right here will work great to cut that stuff back and get it off the fence, get it away from there, and you can take, you know, cut wide areas at one time. I've done it with a blade on a weed eater, and you're basically just kind of hitting one at a time and knocking them little vines or little things loose, and then you get stuff wrapped up. Like if it's a vine, and get wrapped in your around your blade, and I don't know, I just haven't had a lot of luck doing it that way. I've done it, but it just doesn't seem to work all that well. So I think by using this, I think it'll work out real good. So we're going to try it out. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of this viney stuff and all that grown up, and it's not real big, so it's hard to cut that with a chainsaw. You can use a weed eater, and we'll just kind of go with this first, see how it does. But even stuff like the little small tree limbs, this thing is supposed to be able to cut up to a 3/4 inch thick limb, so we should be good. show you a little snag that we've run into. Seems like the more I use this, the worse that it's getting right now. It seemed to start out pretty good, and I've used it to trim other stuff before, like a hedge bush, you know, that kind of stuff, and it done a really good job. But it's supposed to be able to cut up to 3/4 inch thick, you know, limbs or brush or hedges or whatever. And but right now, as I've used it, I mean, you got stuff like this that's 1/4 inch, but as you come into it, you can hear the trimmer like bang and thump real bad, and then it'll stall it out, and it almost stops moving. And sometimes it'll cut it, sometimes it won't. But if you cut into just a little tree limb, like, it starts thumping and banging real hard and will not hardly cut through it. And you see how tough that was to cut. This is a little tiny tree limb. I mean, 1/4 inch maybe at the absolute most, and it's having trouble cutting through that. I'm a little unimpressed with it. So this video is going to be continued, because I think that the tool itself, I think it's kind of might be defective. It just seems like it whenever you go into these little tiny sticks and, you know, twigs and like little pieces of, like briars, if you've got more than one, it won't cut it, and it bangs and thumps and clank like it's something like it's jumping out of, like the drive thing slipping or something like that. Maybe it's designed to do that, but if you can't cut no more than one little twig at a time, that's not worth having. Because you know, when you're trimming a hedge or something, you're going across this hedge and trying to level off, say, the top of it or the sides, and you're cutting 25 twigs at a time, and there is no way that that tool right now will do that. Like, there's no way. So we're going to see what Lowe's has to say about it, and see if there's any kind of a or maybe that's, you know, maybe it's just a problem with that one or something. But we're going to see what happens there, and then try out the new one, see if that does any better. But I mean, it's actually gotten some of the job done, but just not nearly like you'd think that it would just kind of cut through that stuff. Because like I say, whenever I trimmed some hedges and stuff with it, and you go across them, you can cut right down through the limbs, not just the leaves, but you can get into the limbs, and you could go right across the top, and it just buzz it off with no problem. And so I'm a little disappointed that, you know, I'm having so much trouble with this. I'd be better off definitely using the weed eater with a blade on it. And so anyways, but I was really thinking that my wife talks about helping out all the time, you know, and like this would be a good way that she could do that, and a tool that she could handle easily, because the weed eater with the blade and everything on there, and especially trying to reach it out and try to reach in and around these fence posts and the fence itself, and reaching out and get some of these limbs and stuff, it can get heavy, and it doesn't take long to get you really tired. So thought this would be a lot better way of doing it. So far it's not, but we'll keep you updated. But if you like videos like this, make sure you click that thumbs up button, subscribe, share them with everybody you know. Thanks for watching.